Welcome to the Friendly Geordies podcast. This is a nervous podcast, ladies and gentlemen, because the U.S. polls are tightening. We are 1 week away from the election, and it seems like it's 50-50.
Dang. Exciting.
Are you excited?
Well, you know, that's like if it was a sports game,
You'd be excited.
Yeah.
Dude,
But it's
I'd
an
be...
election,
Well,
so you're even more excited.
yeah, same.
Aren't you
You're not
guys...
excited because it's an election.
Like, it's scary, but I don't even know. Is it it depends. I just don't. I jump from Trump's going to end the world to he won't pretty regularly, so I don't know. Just depends on the day.
Wow. You, like the American voter, are flipping a coin.
Yeah. I wouldn't be flicking a coin, but like, you know, I don't know, man. Is he a huge threat? I don't know.
The vibes check. He's done it again.
What?
He's got the mood of America down pat. I don't know. Is he scary or is he awesome? I can't tell.
Well, it's easy for you guys.
You're in the same boat, sort of.
No, dude.
Yes.
I watched the Madison Square Garden.
That was
I am
crazy.
petrified.
That
bro.
was crazy.
Did you see that?
No.
You guys, I feel like I should color my hair green, but you both have a certain privilege because you're not the one being deported.
This election is just a TV show for you.
But it is.
But you, a non-citizen on the other side of the world, it's real.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, like, no, it's not. But I'm just saying, it spreads, bro. As if stop pretending that our politicians don't just cheat at look at Trump's notes and try to implement that here.
You what?
It's
You think they
coming.
do?
Yeah, dude. Always.
I don't think they do.
No,
at
they
all.
don't.
2016,
Yeah.
Trump, everyone said reprehensible, wins the election. All of a sudden, all conservative politicians in Australia start saying similar shit.
I don't think they did. I think in 2016 we elected Malcolm Turnbull. That is as far away from Donald Trump as you can get.
I guess
Further
so.
away than Kamala Harris.
I'm not saying that the
Geographically speaking.
I'm not saying the people follow it, but I'm saying that Liberal Party conservatives follow him.
Liberal Party.
Man.
Conservatives.
I think it's the same thing across the world. Are they following Trump or are they always like that?
Okay, well, let's focus on the first topic that we need to talk about is
The arena.
the arena and the controversial Puerto Rican. So, did you guys hear the joke?
No.
I heard
It was
someone
a
made
joke?
It was a
Is
joke.
that what this is all about?
Yes, but
And
keep
you're
it.
scared.
I'm not scared by the joke. I'm scared by the other shit
attitude.
that surrounded the joke. Tony Hinchcliffe, the comedian, doesn't scare me. It's the background filled with Republicans that are clapping at Kamala, the devil, enemy within. That scares me. Anyways, but the joke was, if you guys haven't heard the joke, it's a very, well, I won't give my opinion. He says that this is a troubling time for the world. There's a literal floating garbage island in the middle of the ocean. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Trump didn't say that. The
No,
comedian.
Tony Hinchcliffe, the comedian.
Yeah, a
said that.
comedian said it.
And what? This took 48 hours of MSNBC coverage to
Yep.
dissect, did it?
Yep, it did indeed.
And this was exactly like last week when Donald Trump said that a golfer had a larger penis than other golfers.
Yes, but this
And that was
time-
also very troubling.
But dude,
Everything's just troubling.
You
to me.
have to understand, they're slipping in the polls. They need it all. They got to do something. For some reason, I don't know if they're stupid or if they truly believe that this is a valid form of applying pressure, where I don't think it matters at all.
No.
This has no bearing. But you know what they are doing, which does have bearing? Every poll in the U.S. conducted, contrary to beliefs of Trump and Kamala. Kamala, for instance, thought that the point that would be most effective for her is stressing on the abortion issue. Trump, on the other hand, believed that the point that is most effective for him is the border and deporting immigrants. Polls again and again show that it's
the
actually the
economy,
economy. And
It's
so
always
both
the economy.
both
When is it
parties.
never the economy.
I don't know why people get distracted. Well, the immigration, first of all, both of those issues are valid to some extent. Like abortion issue is genuinely valid. I mean, look, man, I don't know how controversial it's been in Australia. I feel like we've come to this consensus, right? Like if in Australia they were talking about, like, you know, potential bans in some states or making the terms of like after this, how many, like even like we would be against that, and we're not even women. So you can understand how important it would be for women. So it makes sense for some people. However, the most common issue remains the economy.
Well, it's probably because when it comes to immigration and it comes to abortion, the lines are set.
Yeah.
Everyone's made up their mind on those two issues. That's probably why it's shifted to the economy.
Yeah. And the immigration, we were talking about this, but like, I don't know if, like, I hear a lot about, the number of immigrants has increased. There's a lot of illegal. That's all true. But this is, I don't know if a lot of people are aware of this, that this is a global phenomenon at this point. So there's a few things that happen that turbocharged immigration into not just like the US, Australia, Europe, New Zealand.
And it was Joe Biden getting elected.
And
We all know,
even no, it's not. And even like second world countries that are transitioning, like everyone faced an influx. So there was, the biggest thing was that you had COVID, and then after COVID and when the inflation increased, you had contractionary pressures on every economy in the world. In the first world, you manage to absorb it. I mean, there's problems for everyone, but you do manage to absorb it. In the third world, it has literally led to collapse of some societies. So that's created a massive outflow of immigrants.
Which one?
Throughout the third world. So if you look at like the immigrants that actually go to the U.S., one of the largest immigrant population is Vietnamese, Indians, Pakistanis.
Wow, so the same that have always been migrating.
Well, somehow they got turbocharged during this period. And I think that's one of the factors. I'm not saying that this is the only factor, but the contracting economy, and in some cases, so like there's a lot of countries that literally filed for bankruptcy within this period. You look at Sri Lanka, that defaulted and essentially went bankrupt.
How much they defaulted for? What was it again? It was like
$30 million or something.
30 million.
I mean, it's a small country, bro. It's
30. That's an Oz Lotto. It's not even an Oz Lotto that people care about and say, it's up to 100 million this week.
That isn't all.
You could buy 3 Bangladeshis.
I wouldn't mind one. That'd be pretty sweet. What
would you have to do with
you have lot of practice rooms, which is a country of band practice spaces.
Everyone get out of the Carnegie Hall. And the town hall. And the hospitals. They got good echo reverb for it. How'd you get? You put that same thing that you put on your Harry Potter book in whiteout, just over the top of the public hospital's property of Miss
with a sad face, being like, "Oh, it's so sad. Get out." Fuck, that'd be so good. That'd be sick, dude.
Ali, how does it feel that your region of the world is a joke?
It's not his country.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
History, baby.
He's
Ancient
in on
history.
the joke now.
It feels like a past life. I mean, look, no, it feels pretty bad. All of it, dude. It's like the world. Yeah, it's a tough period for the world. If you think like, if England says we're going to third world levels, third world is going to like sixth world levels. It's like,
Damn.
it's a tough one. Yeah. And then like and the other thing is like a lot of the stuff, the growth of immigrants, and we face this in Australia to a large extent too. The backlog of COVID applications just got cleared immediately, right? So you had like 2 to 3 years of blocked immigration, because 2 years minimum of COVID. And then all of a sudden, all those applications come in. And so you have a large influx of immigrants, which would have been sort of consistent had COVID never happened. But on the surface, on ground, you just see like, all of a sudden there's a lot more people. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is like the immigration issue is valid to some extent.
I can't believe it. Ali is saying that the immigration issue is valid.
That is weird.
I told you he was a
to
Trump
some
voter.
extent, because this can all be solved with sanctuary cities.
Sanctuaries. Trump says he wants to ban them.
I don't think he can, bro. On one hand, he's like,
it's a city issue. If
Right.
he was running for mayor of 20 cities at once.
So he's lying. That's not like him. Well, he said,
dude, he
said
lies
he'll ban
all the time.
sanctuary cities. That's funny if he can't even do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's up to him.
Yeah, it's also, it's like everything for him is like, it's the states will decide, except when sanctuary cities, I will ban it all.
Yeah, that's pretty funny actually. Fuck.
I will stop dogs getting eaten in a small town. That's right. I'm running for general manager.
Oh, man.
All right. So what do you guys think about what's your gut saying about who's going to win?
Oh my God, it's my head. My head has always been on the side of the Democrats, and you can't take anything that I ever say because I have the worst prediction election result ever. So I think that Trump is going to win because I think that Kamala is going to win. But I do think that Kamala Harris is going to win and title.
What are your reasons? Let's go through some of the reasons.
Early postal voting is up. Early postal voting shows a huge increase of registration for women.
Right.
White women Republicans are turned off by Trump. He's only winning in that category by a point.
Really?
White working class men are not as interested in Trump as before. The enthusiasm factor of Donald Trump just ain't there. I'm sorry, he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have it. He's got it. He's still Trump.
I mean, he's got it. If you saw his address to the Catholic fundraiser, he's definitely got it.
Okay, now I'm getting off the pod and I'm going to make myself a tea. Now I'm bored.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sorry. Never again can you ever say that we're dweebs for liking politics.
Yes, I can.
Did you just hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, he really fired up at the Catholic fundraiser.
So what? I got my finger on the pulse. These guys just go for the mainstream stuff.
All right, Miss Wall Jordan makes his tea.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know who's gonna win. I honestly don't.
Okay,
know.
let's focus on because
I don't know. If someone had a gun to my head,
let me rephrase the question. You don't have to say who you think.
No,
is
I
gonna
can.
win.
I can. But yeah.
All right, go on.
I don't know, but if someone had a gun to my head and they were just like, "I'm gonna kill you unless you say one of them," I'd probably say Trump.
Okay, now here's my question. Forget who's gonna win, who's gonna lose. Jordan said that he feels that the enthusiasm level for Trump is not where it used to be. Do you feel the same?
Yeah. I think he's right. Yeah, I think he's right. It's not where it used to be, but I don't think it's as dramatic. I don't think that's going to mean as dramatic a thing as he's saying.
I think it does in elections in America because that's what wins elections. When you motivate people to go out to vote.
Okay, Jordan, can I ask you a question? Traditionally, forget this election. Traditionally, what are the Democrat voting blocks and what are the Republican voting blocks?
Yes, I know. But
go on, for the audience.
And weave in something about the Catholic speech while you're saying it.
No, who are the Democrat voting blocks?
The Democratic voting blocks are educated whites, blacks, Latinos.
Latinx.
Latinx, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No wonder they're moving over to Trump. I can't remember who I just did.
Latinos.
Now I'm doing to the Republicans, aren't I? Uneducated whites. That's it.
Damn.
Okay.
You called him uneducated. He's doing the deplorable thing. He's doing the deplorable.
So do you agree?
They see it as a badge of honor.
Really?
Do you agree?
Because they ain't college boy.
Do you agree that out of those three that you mentioned, that the minority votes are going towards Trump this time around?
Yes.
Do you think that...
But do you agree, will you agree that uneducated whites and white women are moving towards the Democrats?
Uneducated whites and white women...
So they're cancelling each other out.
Towards...
And honestly, if I wanted one block to move towards me, I would want uneducated whites.
I think there's
You keep all the migrants you want. Send me you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor. Out you go. Over to the Republicans, which makes no sense
it makes
at all.
It makes a lot more electoral sense too. Like if you want a voting block, uneducated whites is the best one.
That's the best one. I mean, they can win on one block.
Yeah. The rest have to form a coalition. That is a behemoth in its own.
Totally. So I'm saying that if they aren't as enthused as they were in 2016 and they were scraping just over the line in 2016, remember, we're talking about a couple of swing states where if in all of these precincts there was a couple of votes the other way, Hillary Clinton would have won. A couple. Two.
Right.
I know that we have a lot of trouble with Mislav when it comes to him when he couldn't decide the difference between a threesome and an orgy. So I'm trying to dispel this.
I mean, thank you.
Similar. I suppose they are.
Definitely are.
It's the starting of an orgy.
Yeah,
It's the block of an orgy.
Three's a crowd.
He's a crowd. And an orgy's a party.
Yeah.
And
okay, so even if we say, let's say that they're moving and they're greater in numbers, let's say 55%, I'm just making these figures up. Let's say 55% were in Trump's category, and this time around, it's gone to 53, 52. That's how much the difference is. It can't be any more than that.
Yeah.
Right? But on the same hand, you've lost your minorities, which includes black men and Latinos. Do you think the math still makes sense?
Yeah, but what is the maths? Because I think that it's only about a fifth that are moving towards the Republicans.
Okay, so all right, fine. Let's agree with you. What about the fact that pollsters are saying that there's a better chance for Trump than it is for Kamala? What are they getting wrong?
They always say that the Republicans are winning, always. And the reason that they do that is because those aggregate pollsters are flooded by a bunch of Cato Institute faux polling where they go out and they say, oh my God, it's going to be a landslide. And the reason that they do that is because they figured out that if you say that one side is winning, how dumb is this? I know people like this as well. People will vote for someone because they think that they're going to win and they want to be on the side of the winners. That is a small fraction of the population that will do that.
That's mental.
And that in itself is a voting block.
Jesus.
So they move that towards them.
The ego block.
The ego block. The thing is, when you are polling Republicans and when you're polling Democrats, Democrats are usually younger. Democrats are usually more educated. These are busy people that don't have home phones that they sit around asking questions all day. They don't answer private numbers.
Yeah, most people don't do that anymore.
Exactly. So who's answering this?
Yeah.
All right, now
People in Nebraska.
Yeah.
okay, now I've got a segment. So what we have are two Friendly Jordy's podcast fans that live in the U.S. And we're gonna give them a call.
Ooh,
Hopefully
that's interesting.
Cool.
the time difference is pretty bad.
How did you find that?
I managed to find them.
Wow, that's actually interesting.
Wow,
So it's not
Ali's done something
the guy who
this week,
shits
hasn't he?
himself.
And
a lot.
for quota purposes, it's one woman and one man.
Right.
It just happened to
Okay,
be that
I don't
way.
support that at all.
So what we'll
We should
do
get rid of
is
the woman.
we'll do. I'll organize the calls and we'll get an update on what things are like on the ground. What are they feeling?
Damn.
Okay.
Far out. That's exciting.
That is cool, Ali. See, this is what happens when you focus on this instead of your stupid law degree.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
You're stupid, Ali. We're geniuses. Why are you sitting on the ethnic couch? Come over to the white guy couch.
Hi, Ali. How are you?
Hello. Firstly,
American?
would you like us to? They're both Aussie that live in the US. by the way.
Hang up
Oh,
on
hi,
him.
Jordan. Hi, Miss. How are you?
Yeah,
Hey,
great.
How are
What
you?
would you like?
Really
I'm from
Australian
Perth,
too, aren't you?
Are you from Perth?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
from
the accent.
WA, mate.
Where,
so,
where in Perth?
Yeah.
Where in Perth?
Well, I say Perth, but my hometown is Albany.
Yeah. South.
Albany,
Down
Western
south?
Australia. So that's like a small country town,
Nice.
Yep.
like 500 k's south of Perth. But
Oh my
obviously no one really
God.
knows that, so I just say Perth.
Jeez, no wonder you
What?
wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Why are you in America?
Oh, I don't know. Well, because of you, Jordan. Actually,
What?
it's all your fault. No, no. Your one of your videos on your self-help channel gave me the push that I needed to take a chance on my music, and
Whoa.
I watched your video. It was like, I think it was called like "Watch This When You Hit Rock Bottom," or I don't know if you remember that one.
The video's
But
just
yeah, I was
if
like,
you're from Albo,
a couple years
you
ago.
should leave.
Yeah, no, it was quite old. Like, it was one of your ones before you had all your graphics and everything. It was like on your shitty background and
Yes.
all of that.
No, I remember the video.
It was great.
You know
And,
why I remember that video though?
Was it filmed
It's
in
because
Why?
it
Oh,
was
shit.
Miss Love, who is another struggling musician, who also felt like
Yeah.
he was
Hey,
hitting rock bottom.
She's not that
10
struggling.
years and counting.
Still
And so he said, "Can you do a video when you hit rock bottom?" And it inspired another musician to go chase their dreams. While Miss Love sits here in Australia,
Who's doing
driving away,
Look, in
where he could be
hindsight,
in Nashville. Tell me you're in Nashville.
Where are you?
Please tell me you're in Nashville.
I flew back from Nashville today.
Whoa!
So I'm based in Vegas, but I was out in Nashville over the weekend.
Wow.
Accepting some awards at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Oh
no
my
big deal.
God.
But,
Are you serious? So you are a successful country musician?
well, I don't know if not so successful.
Can
So
we
let me-
reveal
let me
your
know.
identity? Are you?
awards though?
Wait 1 second. Can we reveal your
Oh, yeah,
identity?
you can. Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
She-
Look, I'm not going to be too edgy tonight. I'll behave myself. But yeah, you can say my name. I don't care.
No, I'll plug your Instagram handle because you are actually a successful musician now. So Jordan, you
Yeah, let me
did
check
well.
out the Instagram. I got it. Sorry, I'm breaking the laptop.
I'm gonna like. Well, so for those of you listening in, if you want to check out, it's Rachel Lincoln _ on Instagram. You guys can have a look at the Instagram. And Rachel, you're a singer based in Vegas. Awesome.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so
Wait, what do you do though? What's your singing then? Is it country?
So
Sick.
yeah, so pretty much I'll backtrack. So when I saw your video, that inspired me. Looking back, I wasn't really at rock bottom. I thought that I was at rock bottom. I had
I
just
took that one
I
for
just
you.
gone through it. It was pathetic. I look back and I'm like, oh, as if that's rock bottom. That's just privileged rock bottom. No, I was just a little bit sad because I think I'd just gone through a breakup or something, and I was like, oh, I'm at rock bottom, you know. And I was like, no, I think this is the chance for me to, almost indulge in the freedom. And you said something in the video. It was like, when you've got nothing, you've got nothing left to lose. And I was like, well, I feel like I have nothing, I've lost the love of my life. And I was like, okay, well, maybe now's the time to go and give this a crack. So that was around July.
And also, if
2022.
you're doing country music, you have to have your
Well, I
heart
didn't-
broken. Otherwise, what else have you got to sing about?
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, at that point in time, I didn't know that I wanted to go down the country route. So I was just singing at Crown Casino in Perth, the cast there, just,
Fuck,
a
that's
lounge singer, doing cover music, just being a cover musician. Did a few weddings. Yeah, you're allowed to laugh at that. But I thought, music was something I always loved, and I always reverted back to music. I went to business school and did business law, but I came back to music and I was like, there's got to be something here. I do want to give it a crack. And, but I didn't just want to do casino singing at the cast. I was like, there's got to be something more, and I need to go and give it a shot. And if not, that's fine. I'll just come back and, work on the mines and do FIFO or something like that, But I was like, I need to just...
Totally. You're from Perth. You have an
WA.
out.
It's in my blood.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage. So I was like, look, I'm going to go to the US and just see what happens. So I came here...
Miss Love, you should
came for
learn from
10
her.
days.
I really should. That's amazing.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
actually, Miss, I'm pretty sure I messaged you years ago saying oi, let's collab, and you never acknowledged it. Anyway,
Now you've lost your chance now, Miss Love, as well. No, never
Please,
collab with
give me
him
another
ever.
shot. Give me another shot.
No, you had it. And also, how weird would that be as well? Indie rock and country. It couldn't
True.
work,
I
right?
reckon it could work. It could.
What kind of?
We
So you
could
make
give it a
original
crack.
stuff, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
What kind of country is it?
At
Is it
that time,
new country?
I would say country pop. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
It's crossover country pop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, my favourite.
it's like old school Taylor Swift. No?
Yeah, I guess. Yep, you could say
Yes.
that.
She
but
hates
it's
Soaking up the
nice.
crumbs. She's soaking up the crumbs when Taylor left off.
Just shake
What
it
a
off.
bottom feeder.
Shake it off.
Yes.
Someone's got to do it. Hey, I'm from WA. Remember, I've got to fucking take anything I can.
Sick.
So I came over here just for 10 days. I think I watched your video in the July. I came over for 10 days in the October, and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going home for Christmas, whatever. And then in January 2023, I'm just going to go and see what happens.
Fuck.
I had a 90-day ESTA. I came with one suitcase, and nearly, in January, it'd be 2 years, and I'm still here. So
That's
Incredible.
amazing.
It's
Round of
been
applause.
Round of
Yeah.
applause.
Yeah.
Go, Rach.
Good work,
Yeah.
Rachel.
That's sick. What a story.
Hey, as uplifting
Girl, come good.
That's amazing.
as uplifting your story is, you live in Nevada, which seems to be a swing state. What's the feel on
Yes,
the
it is.
ground? What do you think
Oh,
Americans are thinking?
Look, I want to preface before I get into it. I'll preface it with this. A few years ago, if you told me that I would be attending a Trump rally, which I did last Thursday, I would have laughed.
That's how
No
I
way, I
found
would not go.
Rachel, by the way. A story.
How?
Yes.
She was at a Trump
Yeah.
rally on the story, and I saw them, and I was
No
like,
way.
I'm going to like this.
How could you not?
And then we started
Yeah.
talking, and I was like, come on the pod, tell us. Continue, Rachel.
Yeah, so I think, before I came over here, and even probably in the first, probably the first year that I was here, you don't really see and you don't really start to understand why, Trump has 30,000 people going to these rallies day in, day out. There's a reason for that. And, I think I understand now why. It's because, the American people, there's nowhere else to turn to. You have the Biden-Harris administration, they inherited a bad situation, right? When they came into office, it was, I think, at the height of the pandemic. But that's not really a good enough excuse for what has happened lately. And I think a lot of people are feeling like the Democrats have almost done like a bit of a bait and switch tactic, with Kamala now coming in, and almost having this coronation out of nowhere. She didn't even win their primaries, yet now she's all of a sudden, here she is. We don't know who this woman is. And I think a lot of people who were maybe on the fence or, swing voters, I think they don't like that, I think. They think that's a little bit fishy. And myself, like even on the day when Trump got shot at, I was sort of watching that going, oh, is this a setup? Is this legit? Like I was, back in July, I was like, I don't know about this. And then here we are in October. I'm now going to the Trump rally, clapping along. So I think in the last few months, the more I'm learning, the more I'm hearing, I can understand why people are going to these Trump rallies and getting so emotional. And you sort of can't blame them.
Are they emotional? Because all we hear all the time is that attendees are down and everyone's bored and they walk out.
No, people are crying. Like I had people sitting in my sort of the area that I was seating at. They're on their feet. They're jumping up and down. They're crying. They're wiping their faces. Like
what
people get into it. He talks so simply, right? And obviously he does it on purpose. But
simply yet bigly.
It's that hope.
Sorry.
It's the hope that maybe he will clean all the shit up that's happened. People do feel annoyed at the fact that, $200 billion has gone to Ukraine, yet the borders are wide open. You've got, 10 million people coming in who, now not all of them are bad people, no, but there are some murderers and rapists among them. People in California.
And some you assume are good people.
Well, I'm sure some are great, and that's fine. Look, I'm on the path to green card here. Look, I'm one of them too, all right? But I did things the right way. I jumped through the hoops. I paid the thousands of dollars. I did everything that I needed to do. I could have gone down to Tijuana and bloody walked back over with them, but I didn't, right? I went through the right process. But there's things like, under Trump, there was no new wars. For 32 years, all the administrations saw new wars. Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. But people are saying, well, hang on a second. When we had Trump, for 4 years, there was no new wars. Mortgages now, to get a mortgage under Trump, when he was in office, it was $75,000. Now it's $125,000.
God, I wish that was
and you
still
can sort of understand.
USD,
God,
my
that'd
friend.
be
US.
I think
$250. No.
I think she means a
poor
deposit.
Americans.
I think she means the deposit.
The deposit?
Yeah,
You're talking about the deposit or the mortgage rate?
No, salary. So salary.
Salary, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to have $75,000.
Wages.
You need to be earning $75,000 a year. Under Trump, it was $75,000 a year.
Yeah, but
now
Rachel, that's
earning
again, this is one of these things of yes, but then Biden inherited a global cost of living crisis, and in those instances, it doesn't matter who was there. If it was Trump or if it was Biden, it would still go up.
Yeah, and and it's the same. You go back to WA now, it's gone up there too. It's.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I went back in February and I was like, geez, Coles and Woolies are bloody rooting the people over there. So, yes, it's everywhere. But and that's the thing. I think, even technically.
So you consider yourself you're a Trump. I don't know. Can you vote now?
No, I can't.
Okay,
I'm not
but
a
you
citizen.
would vote for him,
I
you
have legal
reckon?
status, yeah.
But you would vote for him? Or you're not sure?
I think if I was, I think if I was a citizen and could vote, I think I would vote for Trump because it's not about, I think what people need to realise, especially, people that are not in the US, it's not about, you're not voting for him or her. You're actually voting for 5,000 people to run the government department. So, and I think it you have to acknowledge the fact that he's got two Democratic defectors, if you will. He's got Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy, who both ran as presidential candidates as Democrats, now endorsing him.
We love Bobby.
But you can also
Bobby
point to a
Kennedy,
bunch of
he's the
people
first-
in the Trump administration that went to the Democrats. I think it's like actually like
Yeah.
it's like dozens of
Yeah,
them. It's like,
there's
we
a
can't
lot. In
work
fact,
with
a
this
lot
thing.
of people that worked for Trump.
A lot of people that
switched
work for Trump also moved over.
Yeah.
You know what I honestly think is
Yeah.
the only legitimate Trump gripe that they've really got? I fully understand the border thing. I fully understand that.
You're freaking me out with that. If that fuck. If
Yeah.
that
Oh
breaks,
yeah,
And
sorry,
I
sorry. I'm
think
touching like this
the
MP3
people
while I'm
like-
talking to you. I can't. Sorry, Rach.
all
Yeah,
our
go on.
shows go if that breaks.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Maybe don't like.
No, I
fuck
think,
with the
with the border thing,
Sorry.
Go on, Ray. Yeah.
like with the border thing, having 10 million people come in just like that, you have to think about, okay, well, I can't vote, right? But if I stay here in maybe 5 years, yeah, okay, I could convert to citizenship. I would be able to vote. That would probably piss off people like me who are citizens, who have migrated here, who did do things the right way, who did pay the tens of thousands of dollars to jump through the hoops and get their papers. So I think that,
Okay, I gotta-
Now,
that
here's
does
the
piss me
question,
off.
though, Rachel, because I'm going to have to look at the figures for this because I always hear this, that Republicans always run this thing of, oh, we're going to be so tough on the borders, and then they get in, and then they do nothing. And the reality of the situation is it's because every Western economy now is just underpinned by migration, and it's because everything just moved out.
Part of it,
like
I'm
all the
gonna-
manufacturing moves. So really the way that you keep an economy afloat is just by constantly increasing.
I'm going to defend Rachel
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this. I might disagree with the figures of 10 million. However, part of the reason when Trump was in power and he was doing some of his border measures, you can agree or disagree with the measures themselves, but they would get vetoed at any federal court in the U.S. Their courts have like de facto power to not necessarily pay attention to what Congress is thinking, and they can just block measures.
Right.
If you remember those cages and the kids stuff,
Yeah.
that all got blocked at courts. So they basically said you can't do this.
But that's again, this is one of those things that the CNN and the Fox News fears. They're always talking about the caged children. But in terms of reducing the migration rate, I think it was Obama that was the most successfous.
Well, the numbers were
the lowest.
The numbers were lower, but like, look, man, I'm gonna be honest here. As soon as Biden came in, and nothing to do with Biden himself. I mean, partly, but like the traffickers and migrants increased in numbers because they assumed that they would get a favorable treatment now that the administration has changed. And if you remember, in the early days, Kamala did a speech where she says, "Don't come, don't come." Don't come to America. And that was because she was telling those people that just because there's a change in administration doesn't mean that you can come here.
Yeah,
But the traffic came. It increased a lot. And it was just based on the perception that Trump is now gone, it's going to be easier to do it.
What Rachel's saying does make a lot of sense, though. Like, it's really that thing of it's the same. What I don't like about the Trump campaign is they are preying on things that no government really has control over. Economy and migration are going to have to go hand in hand. It's the only way that you can keep the economy afloat in this time. And so sitting there and just saying like, oh yeah, when we go in, migration's going to go down to zero. The economy's going to be amazing.
I mean,
it is a lie.
There's
It is
one
a
way
lie.
to fix it. And we've
Like
shown
he's
it
saying
to the
on
world.
Thursday.
Offshore
He's saying on
offshore
Thursday
detention.
night, sorry.
Yeah, go.
He was saying on Thursday night here, he was saying like, we're going to have the biggest mass deportation that this country's ever seen. And I mean, I know because I've been dealing myself over the last, nearly 2 years with USCIS, which is the government department that deals with, you can converting your status to, legal permanent residence. That's going to take a hell of a long time because just in there, just dealing with me. And now I'm above board, okay? Mine's an easy case.
All right, well, you have been saying that a lot.
They
It
put
is
me
making
on the
me
back
doubt
burner
it.
for.
No, you're
Oh.
yeah.
I'm a legitimate citizen.
I'm a single, woman that's come here with no children, no criminal record, whether educated, willing to work, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Not tooting my own horn, but if I, it's taking them 2 years to deal with me. So
Yes.
to round up all these people that they want to deport, plus the harem of kids and, families that.
Yeah, exactly.
they're
And
now
Rachel,
happy.
your
I mean,
case, your case would be simple
Yeah.
because you said you're a single woman. Now, as you know, if you're born in the U.S., you by default become American citizen. So if there's an illegal immigrant living in the U.S. that has a child, they are American citizens. There's issues with deporting that person. The 10 million figure, like, it's going to be impossible. You're absolutely right to deport 10. Also, I don't even know where this figure comes from. Trump himself says it could be 2 million, 3 million, but I know that it's 10 times more than that. And in other places, he's even said that it's close to 20 to 30 million. So the figures are just all over the place. But whatever the figures are, there's a lot of illegal immigrants in the U.S., and to deport them, you're going to need 16 terms.
It'd take decades.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the thing about it is, the thing about Australia, it's great, right? We're an island, so we don't have this issue of, land border crossings. But come on, at home, right? If this was happening, if we just had masses and masses of boats coming in, I think the Aussie, public, they would be pretty pissed off.
I don't think that Trump is not going to do anything about it. That's why. Okay, Rachel. Just so you know, Rachel, because this was something that I was like, I cannot believe that this is not getting the traction that it deserves to get, which was that the Biden administration did put through the toughest border control laws of any administration. All the stuff that the Republicans have been raving on about for 30 years. We need these protections. We need this much funding. Biden was like, all right, let's do it. Then the Republicans say, no, we're not doing it. And why did they do that? To keep this issue alive, because they thought it was an election.
Yeah, so they could run on it.
They're dirty
That
people.
might be true.
That's what I'm saying.
That might be true, Jordan, but on the surface, their excuse was, and you can further comment if you think that's bullshit, but their excuse was the bill included amnesty for current illegal immigrants in the U.S. So whoever's here right now, amnesty, you get a pathway to citizenship. Anyone coming from now on can't. The thing is,
that's a good deal.
Yeah, but that is a good deal to some extent. But
because as
this
Rachel
isn't
was
the
saying,
first time that's happened.
Again, with this amnesty thing, as Rachel's saying, that's decades of backlog anyway.
Yeah, dude, I get it. But this isn't the first time that's happened. It happens in every, at some point there's an amnesty, and always the promise is, this is the last amnesty. From now on, we're going to stop this issue from, but in practice, it never happens.
What?
After the amnesty, illegal immigrants continue to come in, and they spend years. For some economic immigrants, that's their straight up strategy: hide until there's an amnesty scheme.
Yeah, I get it, but
yeah,
yeah, go on.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, it's a joke, especially in Southern California, down in San Diego and stuff. A lot of them. Oh, see, I've got to be careful. I don't want to say things and then sound racist, but I'm just relaying things that I've been told and heard. So. Yeah, I've got to be careful here.
Rachel, I appreciate your enthusiasm,
you're in a very
but without
lefty
getting you
pod.
into trouble, and also we're running over time. We thank you so much for calling in, because we know it's what time is it over there? It must be some ridiculous.
It's about 10 minutes to 3 a.m.
Oh, shit.
But I got
Thanks
a
for
nap
staying
in.
up.
I got a nap in. I got a nap in. I was not going to miss this. I'm such huge fans. And I want your address where I can send
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. We'll send you our post office address.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much for calling in, okay?
Dude, congrats
Thanks,
again on
thanks so much for having me.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was sick. That was really cool.
Same with Forrest Hall.
Also, she
Good on
offered
ya. Take it easy.
to show us around if we come to the U.S., the three of us.
Sick.
That's so nice.
Yeah, you got to do some shows over here, Jordan.
I will at some point. I definitely will.
You got
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Rach.
All
Thanks.
right. Thank you.
No
bye.
worries. Take it easy. See ya. Bye.
What a nice young lady.
Yeah.
But you know what was very interesting about that I thought the whole time is just okay, she clearly supports Trump. Isn't it so annoying that the Republican machine can sit there and say, these are the reasons that you should vote for Trump, when if you look at it issue by issue, the entire Republican wing is just lying about those issues. So, if Rachel wants to vote on those issues, the Democrats are hands down better on all of those issues.
I don't know.
You can make that argument, yeah.
What?
I'm agreeing with you to some extent. You can make that argument. It's not that... look, anyways, continue.
Well, it just really angers me that every time... This is exactly the same problem that Labor's dealing with here, right? dude, Rachel's a good person. She seems to be somebody who's actually like quite up to date with things. Like she was able to rattle off a bunch of stats that are accurate, but it's annoying that you can just spin it in a time when the world is going through a global financial crisis and be like, that's because the president is there.
Sure.
And if I was there, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah,
And you can prove that because I was there before and economic conditions were better. And it was like, because you were presiding over a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't compare these two things.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know, like again, like Rachel is clearly a very ambitious person that's actually like to be a singer in America and make something of yourself coming from there, like that's somebody that's like quite switched on, and you could tell from how quick she was. She knows all of these things, you know, like she knows what she's talking about. That was not talking to, you were not talking to an idiot there, you know.
Wait, don't say that yet because we're about to make another goal.
Well, you know how sometimes you ring up someone and they're just like,
Hillbilly.
oh, his name's Hillbilly sick. But you know, like sometimes people will call up and they'll just be like, I'm voting One Nation. And you're like, why? It's just like, just tired of the soy boys. And you kind of just like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, like I guess the soy boys are annoying.
Tired of the soy boys.
No, fair enough. It's
just like,
you
dude,
can spin
I
it any which
really,
way.
really hate how that side of politics is just so well funded. They can just inundate constantly with a bunch of think tank talking points. They can just make this entire narrative, spinning it out of things that are sort of like half truths.
Dude,
you know,
just on that money spending, I was looking at Florida as a state today. Did you know that Republicans, for the last, I don't know how many years, have been spending 10 times more than the Democrats?
Right.
Like, how do you think Florida became red? It's insane.
See?
Like, they outcompete their Democrat partners to some ridiculous level. It's not even like, a little bit. It's a massive difference.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Because they can pump the dark money into it. This is what happened in Queensland.
Yeah.
Because again, look, I think that Rachel is sincere about her main points being migration and the economy, you know? But if you were looking at it on a level playing field and the Democrats had the money and the infrastructure to make that argument, it'd just be a no-brainer.
All right, look, let's make another call because maybe we get a different opinion on this. He might have dozed off. It is very late. Oh no, here we go. Hello, Hillbilly.
Hillbilly. Mayday.
Hello, Australia.
Yeah.
Hey.
Here we go.
Man, you can't be that hillbilly. Where are
Howdy,
you?
y'all.
Oh, he's pretty hillbilly.
I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. It is
Shit.
almost 6 a.m., so I've got it a little easier than the previous caller. You were right, though. She's vastly more intelligent than I
I think Ali called it the best.
Hillbilly, how long have you been living?
What's your story?
Yeah, what's your story?
Yeah, why are you called hillbilly?
A quick one.
Well, I've been here for 10 years. Melbourne born and raised. I'm actually Estonian by background, so Miss Love, your tattoo and I have got some history.
Wait, you're what?
But,
What's your background?
Estonian.
Oh.
Estonian.
What tattoo?
Yeah. Your Simpsons tattoo, the Lisa character.
How do you know about that? Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, well, I've listened to every single episode you guys have done.
Okay, sick.
King.
But
Awesome.
My story, Melbourne born and raised, lived in China after high school.
Wow.
And did art, music, and psychology. Then moved to Ohio to do a postdoc in psychology. Met my wife, who's from Eastern Kentucky, which is like true hillbilly territory, like the mountains, Appalachia, and everything.
Hillbilly.
Listen,
Yeah. Wait. Is that place awesome?
Which place?
The hillbilly
Appalachia?
place.
Kentucky.
Where your wife's from?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. There's like a lot of like hiking in mountainous areas and stuff like that. There's a lot of like kind of Appalachian culture that you're not going to see elsewhere. But like, to be honest, it's like a lot of it's pretty destitute these days. And that was like the real kind of wake up experience for me, because there's just so much poverty and so much like homelessness and drugs and all these like hollowed out towns. You know, like I arrived here as kind of like a Jon Stewart, Michael Moore type liberal, And then I'm driving to my in-laws 4 hours away, and you're just driving through town after town that's just hollowed out, just empty. Some of them, there's just like nothing but a church holding them all together, you know. And then you start to realize, shit, man, middle America's really struggling. And then I go back to Athens, Ohio, which is where I was doing my postdoc. Very progressive, liberal college town, and they just hate rural white America. It's visceral, and they're all narcissistic. They're all narcissistically complaining about their victimhood and stuff. And literally 5 minutes away, it's Trump. It's Trump territory everywhere. And it's like never the twain shall meet. This progressive institution that does not give a shit about actual suffering 5 minutes away. And that was kind of my wake-up call. So look, 2 for 2 on this segment, because I pretty much agree with everything Rachel said.
Oh, really? We didn't get we can't. Okay, so I've got, you live in Ohio. Ohio used to be a swing state / blue state, but now it's pretty red.
Correct.
So what's the vibe down there?
Trump did that.
Yeah.
So Obama won Ohio twice. Obama even won Indiana once. And so times really have changed. And where I used to live in Athens, Ohio, which is southeast, true Appalachia, there was a town nearby called Nelsonville. And Obama won it by like 90%. And then Trump won it by like 90%. So, you know, people have, like, some towns truly flipped. Yeah. You know, and so you can't go and say, oh, they're racist, whatever, because like they mostly voted for Obama. You know, it's mostly economic. There are obviously other factors as well. Yes, some racism has been emerged from the woodworks and stuff like that. But to your question, the vibe, I mean, there's not much presidential activity in Ohio because, let's just say, it's not a swing state anymore. They're not bothering. Like, why would you spend money here? So most of the ads you see are for the senatorial race, for the House race, and for the local Ohio races. The stuff you're seeing against the incumbent Ohio senators, he backed Biden's stuff like 95% of the time, and Biden's stuff isn't so popular here in Ohio, so that's pretty good strategy.
What does the Democrat do?
The other guy is he stole from his employees, you know, so that's kind of like the. Say again, sorry?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not as good of a message, is it? The Republican message is going to win out on that easily.
Yeah, probably, because that's what I was thinking. It's like, if the only thing you've got to say against this guy is he stole from some of his employees, which is obviously very bad. I'm not going to defend that. But, like, running for a senatorial position, I'm like, you can't attack his issues? You can't attack his positions?
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't have that much to go on, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll take the liar that I know of. I don't, you know.
Yeah, totally. That does make a lot of sense. Yeah, that's a way stronger message.
So are you going to call it for Trump? What do you think? What does your gut say?
Oh, man, it's really hard because, look, I think any analysis like this has to begin with a discussion of Alan Lichtman's 13 Keys to the White House. And
hell yeah! That's what I'm talking.
I was hoping we didn't bring that up.
Inner liberal comes out.
That man is...
Alan Lichtman for the win.
Yeah, okay. So you see, Alan Lichtman says that Kamala is coming in.
Yeah. Autists for the win, right, Jordan?
Autists for the win.
Look, he's 10. He's 10 for 10. And, like, people say he didn't get 2,000 right. He got 2,000 right.
He got 2,000 right.
Gore won that. And,
yeah, exactly, Ali.
And,
hey, you can't vote, right, yet?
No, I can't.
Can your missus?
Yeah.
Well, of course she can.
Yeah, and she's already
who'd she vote for?
Look, I respect her autonomy as an American citizen and I'll keep that to myself.
Don't disclose it.
Okay, you don't want to disclose because she's a woman, and I want. Okay, fair. That proves your point the other day that you were making that women won't vote for Trump. Here we go.
Because his wife won't.
No, I'm just saying that there's many.
His wife from Appalachia.
I am just saying that there's many women in the U.S. that will vote for Trump.
I know that. I'm saying that they're voting in less droves than they would that carried him in 2016.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I think that's true. I think the female vote has slipped from Trump from day one, right, from 2016, and it's very hard for him to get it back. Look, my wife's an OBGYN, so she has, like, very good reason to prioritize female reproductive health and stuff like that in her voting. Also, like, her biggest issue was the Supreme Court, and I really respect that because it's like Trump got 3 people in, Biden only got 1. It's like 6-3 conservative to liberal right now, and in the long run, that's a bit worrying. And so when you're looking at 20 years ahead,
he stacked the Supreme Court with conservatives.
Yeah,
right?
well, it just happened to die in his term.
Hey.
They just happened to die
They
in his
also
term.
did the scummy thing of not allowing Obama.
Yeah, Obama didn't
which
do it.
isn't. Yeah, that was scummy. But which I think Democrats are now asking. What's her name? Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Isn't she dead?
I think
Which one's still alive? The really old one.
The old black chick?
I don't know.
No. She's like I don't like. She's not black. But they're saying that please retire. Like we're asking her during Biden's presidency.
Sotomayor and Elena Kagan.
Yeah, Sotomayor is still young, I
And
think.
they're getting old.
Yeah, Sotomayor was appointed by Obama.
Obama.
Can I-
Yeah.
okay, so can I ask why do you think all these rural towns are suffering so much? Is it a bipartisan issue? Are both parties screwing regional towns? Because everyone says it was Bill Clinton,
Yeah, I mean-
right? Bill Clinton and what was it? Not NAFTA or did Bill Clinton signed something that was like it's
I can
screwed?
defend the Bill
NAFTA.
Clinton league.
You can defend it. Apparently, he screwed it all up. That's what.
Yeah, I know, but like this was the trade-off, right? It's what Ali talks about all the time. It's that you traded out your manufacturing to become sort of a brain of the world. And so what he is witnessing is the effects of Bill Clinton, which is that, yes, he did hollow out the blue-collar base.
Yeah.
But generally, the economy soared as a result of those decisions. And so you can see that divide happening where he's living, where you go to the cities and it's
So
like
Bill Clinton
quiet.
was happy to be like, Kentucky won't exist anymore, but you've got iPhones. Is that it? Cheap iPhones. Is that it? That was his plan?
I don't think that they thought that it was going to be as severe as what it was.
Okay.
But I think that also generally the fact is that, look, you're in a rock and a hard place position because you can't compete with China. You can't compete with the Philippines, not just on labor, but also on the fact that their population is so much bigger that they can just train people to be in these factory positions.
Right.
Like when the iPhone tried to come back to America and they realized,
Too expensive.
we were willing to cover the costs of labor, but we cannot find the skills required in America for this.
Right.
There's just not enough people for that, you know? So they had to just go back to China.
So it's
basically
not-
what Bill Clinton did was make a tough decision, is what I'm saying.
So
this was a global shift that was happening at the time.
So you're saying it's almost like inevitable. It's not fair to blame the Democrats.
It's really inevitable. Or you could just continue on as is,
Well,
and then you become uncompetitive, and then your economy gets tanked.
You definitely can't bake Democrats because when these decisions were happening, this was a bipartisan decision.
Right.
Republicans weren't protesting. It's only now in hindsight that Trumpian Republicans go back and go, oh, NAFTA was so bad. At the time, they were singing praises.
It was amazing,
Right.
yeah. And the same with the Iraq War. They just do it. It's just whatever is an election.
So what I'm
issue at the
hearing
time.
here is you should vote independent.
If only RFK was still running.
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
No, I'm
Vote
just
for the whale. Nuke the whale.
All right, Hillbilly.
Gotta nuke something.
Yeah, totally. He gets it.
Yeah, just nuke the hurricane. It's something. Hillbilly, thank you. Do you want us to? Do you want to tell us your name, or you're cool with Hillbilly?
Well, I have that story to share with you later, so maybe not share my name.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. We'll keep your name. So, Hillbilly, thank you so much for calling in. We know it's like 6, 7 a.m., so time to get up and go to work.
That's right. Gotta get
a
the
tough
kids
economy.
up. That's my next
Tough economy. But thank you so much. This means a lot to us.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
And thank you for listening to the pod and being such a trooper of a fan.
King.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Like this, you guys are like the best way that I can like reconnect with Australia.
Hell yeah.
And so like you bring back all the nostalgia and stuff like that. So that's why I love listening to you.
You're a legend.
Thanks. We'll talk to
Thanks,
you
guys.
when you do the stories. All right. Bye.
See ya.
Sounds good, mate. All right, cheers, guys.
See ya. 2 legends in a row.
Interesting.
2 legends.
Something
They were
about
both awesome, weren't they?
yeah. There's something about like America. It just attracts the best.
Really
and some,
does. The
I
best and
assume, are
brightest.
rapists.
And some of them are rapists. Questionably, tentatively, the first one that doesn't have citizenship yet. Now, that was really cool. That was both of them were very bright, ambitious young individuals, and I wish them all the best.
All right, we've spent
It is interesting
most of the pod on the election issue. I did have to bring this up. I think people would say that we're disingenuous if I didn't bring this up. Jordan, Albo is in some trouble about upgrading his Qantas flights.
I'm just gonna.
What's your take?
I want to pee too.
No.
Oh, is it that time already?
Let him come back and then you can pee. But tell us what your take is. What do you think?
It's just exactly the same as the house thing. It's stupid. They use this tactic all the time. It's so dumb. What prime minister doesn't have upgrades? What, you want a prime minister to be sitting around in economy class, do you? What, he gets free upgrades? He's the prime minister.
Okay.
What are you talking about? And this is exactly the same thing.
Facts are wrong here. Let me just correct the fact. These upgrades weren't in question when he is the prime minister. He has his private jet now. He doesn't need upgrades.
Yeah.
This was when he was the minister.
Yeah.
So on his private trips to Hawaii or wherever, allegedly 22 times, he called up Alan Joyce, who was whoever the Qantas CEO was at the time, and allegedly asked for upgrades, which he got.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So it's not while he was prime minister. He hasn't broken any law.
Mm-hmm. And he's also regulated heavy against Qantas.
So this is the controversy. They're saying that it happened now, causation correlation, but they're saying that Albo has been pressing for Qantas to he's not allowing Qatar Airways and these other airlines to increase competition in Australia. Mm-hmm. And the accusation is that he's protecting Qantas.
Yep, which is what every Australian Prime Minister would do.
Which would, because Australia has a big stake in Qantas. However, there's this issue of upgrades. Is he doing it because of the upgrades, or is he doing it for some other reason?
I'm sick to death of this. I hate this so much, this point of, they get donations, that's why things are the way they are. You know what's way scarier to a politician? That, like, do you seriously think that people in that position are going to think, they gave me a business class flight, time to give them multi-billion-dollar bailouts? This isn't how this works.
True gold class flyer. He's in the club. He's in the club.
Joyce, I wouldn't mind some upgrades, I've got to say.
The elites.
Look,
The elites.
I'm defending you. Come on, I deserve a fucking upgrade.
He's not even the CEO
if
anymore.
I was doing it, because I'm a cheap ass. I am not that guy. The thing is, Anthony Albanese, it's so stupid, this whole thing. It's the same thing of like, the reason that they don't do anything about housing is because they like own houses as investments. What a stupid reason that is. I'm sick to death of this idea that like politicians do things because of donations and perks. You know what they do things for? They're not doing it because of the carrot. They're doing it because of the stick. You can see this very obviously in the Queensland election that just happened. The reason that there is no longer a Labor government there is because they started taxing coal, and so then they just pumped the state with a bunch of dark money. Nobody knows why they're voting him out. They just realise, it's time, crime or whatever, even though the graph's going down, crime. And then they just put them out. This is why these things happen. The reason that there is no movement on housing is because there is a big housing lobby that if you did it, they'd run a bunch of scare campaigns, they'd just pump a bunch of money in like the coal lobby did, and they'd win the election and Dutton would get in. This is why there's not movement on this. And you can't even use that when it comes to Qantas anyway, because like they can link it and say like, he's not increasing competition, which is a stupid reason because as Ali pointed out, we have a 51% stake as a nation in Qantas, and that's the reason that Qantas is the way that it is now, and it has that protectorate status. But then on top of that, guys, Anthony Albanese has cracked down heavily on wage theft. A bunch of the wage laws that Qantas was using to up its price in the stock market has now been outlawed. That would piss off Qantas monumentally. You're still going to sit there and say that, he's making these decisions because of flights? Well, then why has he done all of these labour laws then? This is a very stupid... I hate these arguments so much.
Yeah, because
I hate it even when the Liberals are in, honestly, when they say, they got free flights. But they don't do it when the Liberals are in. That's the annoying part.
It's a correlation, not a causation, because if you really were... Like, you'd get a lot more than... Like, at least first class for that.
Exactly.
That deserves a first class.
Come on.
And having said all this, you'd do it. You'd call the CEO and You know how good it is compared to economy. Don't pretend.
I'm saying it now, dude. Once you're in business class, you can't go back to that filth in economy.
No, you can't. Even
Cattle.
I haven't been.
I mean, you can because you have to.
Yeah, but if you can ring up Alan Joyce and say, please don't make me sit in row F. Please not row F.
FB.
Come on,
1A,
A1.
please give me 1A.
If Delta can do
I'd
it.
suck you for it.
I'd suck Alan for it.
Yeah.
Alan would be down.
All right.
Anyway, sorry, we'll move on.
Let him cook.
We've got one more thing, don't we?
Yeah, you have. We have one more thing. This is your segment, the new elite. That's the.
Is that about you?
You're looking at him.
Is that about Albo?
The barefoot investor.
Ties in perfectly.
You like that twitch? Twitchy.
Oh shit!
What's that segment about?
Taking it.
Taking him to task.
No, it's just it's perfect. It's like, now back to the Trotskyites or whatever.
So good. I'm sorry, just once you're in business, you're not going back.
Yeah, you can't go back. Anyway,
It's exactly
they're
Bill Maher's
taking
point of like, come on, if you could fly private, of course you would.
And he was right. If you could, you would.
Yeah.
You would. Okay, so anyway, there's a very interesting correlation that's happening that you can see, and I think that the best indicator of this is the yes vote. As Ali pointed out, what was your observations about who voted yes in Australia?
From what I remember, it was, like the city centers.
The city centres. Yeah. And then the further you go out, the more they're voting no.
Yeah, which included the suburbs of these city centers, unfortunately, for the yes crew.
That's what they're saying. So, Ali, why do you think that is?
I'm gonna stay out of this one, bro. You deal with this. I don't know why. They're ignorant. That's why.
No, your words. They're ignorant. Okay. I think this is a very good indicator of what the new elite class is.
Oh yeah, I've heard this. You told me this.
Oh, okay.
But
Thanks
go on,
for
go
destroying the segment.
It's called Bit Late, this segment, is it?
All right, well then you sum up then if you
No,
heard
shut
it.
up.
Go
I haven't
on.
heard
You
it.
say You say all the racy yes
Now
points.
I have to remember it.
So you don't know.
That it was, no, your point was that it was like the new fashion, basically. So it was just like a fashion. It's like the elite have taken these issues as like it's a signifier of status, and it's just fashion.
Yeah, I've said that point before on the podcast.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
This is marrying into this.
Damn, my bad.
Let's have the wedding.
Thanks for wasting our time. Man.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
if
sorry.
you go back and you look at the elite class in, say, the 1900s, the elite class was there because of titles. If you were out of money, it didn't really matter. You'd still be invited to the Queen's birthday. You'd still be offered a bunch of business deals because you had that family name. And that's all that mattered. That was your ticket into the elite class. You were just kind of like in India, the caste system. You're part of the Raj or whatever it's called. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're poor. You've kind of got all of this access to social and political and economic capital for the rest of your life because you're in that bubble. So you really have to stop thinking about money being attached to class. And a very good example of that would be tradies, for instance. Tradies being like, yeah, mate, I've got a jet ski, got a holiday house. Yeah. And everyone thinks, can you just clean my fucking pipe? Shut up. This is not someone that's part of the elite class. They have more money than you.
Right.
But they're not part of the elite.
I've seen this porn. Continue. So clear the pipes and then.
Damn. I love how we learn a lot about our porn consumption habits on this political podcast. I do. I mean, we all share it.
Yeah. So money has no bearing on whether you are in the elite class or not.
And do you agree with that, Ali, first off?
Yeah, to some extent. Like, real POV greenies in Newtown would probably have $10 in their bank account, but they would vote based on the perceived class interest, I suppose.
Yes.
Because they're not going to stay poor like that. They'll get their inheritance.
Yeah, totally. And a big part of the elite class, if you are going to say that it had nothing to do with money back in the past, that's like the counter argument to it is, okay, so back in Victorian era, you would be buying a particular type of tea. So, for instance, the fact that rich people put their milk their tea in first and then their milk, and poor people put their milk in first and then their tea. It's because their shitty crockery would crack if you put hot water in it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so that's why they did it.
I didn't know that.
But, if rich persons, first off, they had better teacups, so it wouldn't do it as much. But if it did crack, who cares? Because you've got more money.
Right.
And it just tastes better that way. And what they were talking about is that if you look back at classes in the 19th century, being part of the elite class, you would be part of what is known as the leisure class. So a big flex about being part of the rich was that you just sat around playing polo. Or it's exactly like when we went into Pakistan and they're still playing fucking polo. And they're still laying around on lounges that are designed to recline like you're a Roman aristocrat. They're still doing that shit.
That's cool, dude.
Because that's a flex still in the third world of like, yeah, I don't have to do shit.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing.
And they don't have to do shit.
And they don't have to
Right,
do shit.
Dang.
In the West, though, isn't this interesting? That's not the case. Being part of the leisure class, if you do fuck all with your life, you're on the dole. You're a loser.
True.
That's not seen as cool in the elite. What is seen as cool in the elite is having a brain job where you're doing way more work than you have ever done in any period of human history. You're like wired to your phone constantly. This is the elite class now.
Right.
So they are always working. They're always working in the brain sector. And so what has become the new elite is attitudes and education. That is what separates you from that to the elite class. And as a result, if you walk into a job and you've got like a Western suburbs accent, you're like, yeah, I just really want to work in HR, cuz. They'll be like, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
And then you walk out. And it's because you don't have that same attitude. You don't have that same shared beliefs
But it's always
that
been
the rest of them
education.
have. Huh?
It's always been education.
Not necessarily. Education was a byproduct of having money, and so you would get educated.
Yeah, like
But
in Pakistan, it isn't. For a very small section of society, education is a status symbol. But for more, it's just money. Like that
Money.
is, yeah. Just like having the ability. I think, okay, what do you think about this? I think part of it has to do with industrial versus agricultural society. If you were from an agricultural society, which I guess in Victorian era, most of them were, leisure time means that you've outsourced your labor. Like you have the ability to hire people that work on your fields. You're probably like the owner of the fields. But when you don't have agriculture as like your means of income or just land, you have to have like a very specialized brainy type job. So I think like it just depends on whether your society is more industrial or not.
Post-industrial. We are in post-industrial societies. We are part of that service-based economy. It's exactly what Missov's talking about. It all goes back to that Bill Clinton era where everything was outsourced. And so the people that do have those jobs, what that hillbilly guy was talking about before, where all of the rural areas are poor as shit.
Yeah.
And then you go to the cities and it's just reaming with money.
It's the same here.
Huh?
It's the same thing here.
It's a little more benign here.
Sure, yeah.
You know, like
sure.
being rural
But it's
Australian
similar.
is
It's
not as
similar.
poor as...
Yeah, I think being a rural American would be infinitely
Okay,
worse than being
Fair enough. But I don't
Bro,
know.
they don't have a social net there. Like you are straight up living your conditions are third world.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So now, what makes you part of the elite class is sort of your views on diet, going to the gym. If you go to the centre of Sydney, what is it? It's filled with a bunch of people
true.
in their
Gym gear.
Lululemons,
Yes.
walking
yes.
into the gym in their lunch break because this is another thing that's like hugely seen as part of the elite class, just being a very productive person and
Right.
multitasking
Right.
and flex time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's
like
all
these
about-
CEOs that supposedly do 12, 13 hours a day, get up at 4 a.m. for an 8-mile walk.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
It's insane to like think about
Totally.
like, dude, if I have a 15-hour day, I'm like, I'm going to skip that walk.
Oh, yeah. Even if I don't.
But not these guys.
Not these guys.
They're productive.
They're
Don't care.
productive. And so it's about diet, gym, sets of beliefs around. This is another thing that's really interesting. Breastfeeding. Breastfeeding was a very POV thing. Then it came out all the research. Actually, this is very vogue and you should be doing this. And then this all of a sudden became this big media thing. You'll see it crop up every few years or so. Oh my God, Koshi said that you shouldn't slip a nip out on public transport. am I supposed to feed my baby? Why is that coming to the forefront? It's because there is a bunch of women with a bunch of money that are sitting around and this is a big issue to them. And so they can make this a big media campaign. And
having said that, there's a lot of benefits for breastfeeding, and it should be
massive. But if you're a poor chick, say in America, for instance, where they subsidize powdered milk and they subsidize baby formula, so it's free and you can just get baby formula for free, man, you don't have time to slip your nip out. And if you do slip your nip out and you live in inner city Chicago, your chances of getting raped just like massively increase.
Oh my
So
God.
they don't do that shit.
Right.
Having
Poor
said that,
people feed their babies formula now.
Right.
that's so because it has massive impacts on life chances of the kid.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because
Hugely.
for the first 2 years or something, look, I'm not a woman and I'm sorry, but like,
Sorry. It's getting it all out of the way. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I apologize. But it does have like
Started first hand.
like the mother's milk
About to
is
go Arch Barker on us.
the mom's milk is catered towards but nature caters it for that child. So it includes immunity that the child would need to develop later on in life. It has a lot of advantages like that. It is the
Massive.
perfect food for that child.
Designed for it.
Yeah, it's designed for your
Literally
child.
designed for it. For your baby specifically.
For your
as well,
baby
because it came out of your
specifically,
body.
yeah.
So there's it's obviously a way better thing to do. But in certain economic circumstances, it is not the better thing to do.
Yeah.
The better thing to do is to get the baby formula. It is
It's true with the diet thing too. Like there's elite stuff. Like if you think of like rich people now, they're like the whole thing is like no seed oils, animal fats, like natural fats. You know, yogurt, probiotics, sauerkraut, like kombucha.
Constant thing back in the day, we always say it. You see all the kings of England and they're all fat cunts.
Yeah.
And it was because that was a flex back in the day.
Yeah.
Now a flex is being 50 and having a six pack.
Yeah.
That's the flex today.
Yeah.
Born in the wrong era.
You and me both, my friend. Yeah.
Dude, apparently back in the day, having a small cock was also a status
Roman
symbol.
times. It was like seen as arrogant or something. To have
Again, boys, we were born in the wrong time.
What life would... But let's be real. If we were born in that time, we'd be starving and we would not be fat and we would have massive cocks.
Yeah.
We'd just be sitting there, what am I supposed to do with this?
give me some
Starving
wheat.
and a huge dick.
Yeah.
Literally with our dicks in our hands.
About to go fight a beast.
Hell yeah.
And so now that we live in this time, what really indicates where you are in society is pretty much just based off of attitudes. And I think that you can see this,
I think that's
say with
true.
things like the yes vote, say with things like your views on basically every cultural issue. The reason that cultural issues have risen to the top and have such prominence now, all these culture wars, is because this is the elite class deciding these things amongst themselves of what is fashionable and what is a position of status. So, for instance, when it comes to the yes vote, for instance, you might think that your yes vote was tied to ethical issues and things. And I'm not saying that it wasn't. But I'm saying that if you were in one of those power nodes of the country, like if you worked in the CBD, if you live in the CBD, if you live in one of these areas that's kind of like an arts capital, a capital, one of those places, and you voted no, can you imagine the backlash that you would get? That would immediately downgrade your prospects for employment in the elite field. That would immediately downgrade your social currency. All of these things, right? And so when you go out to the no area, what you're really seeing, I think, is sort of because they always tie it. It was exactly the same with the monarchy and the republic. How did the monarchy get through in the end? You guys, you weren't here, Ali, but I remember it. The constant campaign. And look, I am very pro-monarchy, as everyone knows. I was so happy that Tony Abbott held up the mantle. But the way that he won was by sitting there and saying, oh, look at all these elites. They think they're so much better than you. He turned that argument into just give the elites a finger. Give them a big finger.
Wait, you're saying that the argument was this is an elite thing and the common person wants an elite family.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But you know what?
Checks out.
Traditionally, this is the other thing, Ali. You don't get this because you're from one of those filthy defector countries. But
Hey, we're part of the Commonwealth. I guess.
Are you?
Well, we used to be.
Yeah.
We're part of the
you were part of the empire.
Well, and we're part of the Commonwealth Games.
Are you?
Yeah, well, that we are.
That must be
yeah,
like
welcome back to the fold. Hell yeah.
must
They
have
don't
just
fucking
slipped
leave.
through.
Huh?
That's like an editing mistake slipped through.
Yeah.
Like an administration mistake. They're like,
Yeah.
please.
And who we have next is Pakistan.
Hey, I think it was in the 70s that they officially got out of it.
Damn.
The Commonwealth?
Yeah.
How are they still in the Commonwealth Games? Get out. One or the other.
I think doesn't matter.
It does.
Don't
It
kick
does
them
matter.
out.
It's all they got, dude. Let them have it.
Yeah, dude. And we lose that too. It's not like we're winning.
But that's another thing, right? The elite don't like the monarchy. Commoners like the monarchy.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I was telling Mislav about this, but there is an unspoken bond between commoners and the king. Because back in the day, lords
You'd have to
and
have sex
industrial
with the king.
titles. Hell yeah. And man, if you were part of the commoner, you'd want to fuck the king.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Definitely. But they have an unspoken bond between each other because the king was always seen as the protectorate of the commoners, while your aristocrats, that was the person that you actually paid your taxes to. That was the person that would stick the boot in you if you weren't making enough crops, and then move to industrialists. And they were the ones that were giving you a hard time and whipping you in the factories. And then the king is what? He's just giving out a bunch of charities, and he's the one actually giving your boss a hard time and just sticking it to them. So you liked the king, and the king liked them. And that's to this day when you walk around in England and King Charles walks out of Buckingham Palace, and there'll be some little shitty Oxford University student with his green dyed hair being like, boo the king. We're like, go and get a job. But then he walks out to, I don't know, Newcastle.
Yeah.
And there'd be all these people, I got you some flowers, your majesty. That's still there.
Yeah.
It's still there, that unspoken bond.
It's so
So that kind of carries on from that. But the way that you highlight that is that you're always saying that this is an elite thing. Wanting a republic is an elite thing. And if you think about it, why would the elite class want a republic? The elite class would want a republic because it's one of them that could end up being the president. It's another managerial job for them. What we are talking about now, and this is a very interesting point in human history, and it's been happening since the 90s, and I can't believe that we saw it. We didn't see it. Yes, you can argue that capitalists run the world and these rich tycoons run it. But if we're being more accurate about it, really, who are the elites? Who is running the world now? The world has moved from a transition of huge booms, and concentration of capital obviously still happens, but generally the world is managed. We are in a managerial age.
Pakistan, isn't it? You're owning the world.
No, there's no management there.
That's why, again, it's just,
I know, I'm kidding.
it's not happening.
Yeah, there's no
It's
management.
not happening.
It's
You're
not
right,
happening.
though. It's management. It's
Huh?
like a management.
There is a managerial class that runs the world. This is sort of what was happening during the French Revolution, for instance, when Napoleon came in, and then he just expanded the bureaucracy greatly.
Right.
Being part of that elite class is sort of getting tethered to this sort of state that doles out these high-paying jobs. This is your new benefactor. Back in the day, it would be the emperor or something that would be doling out all of these jobs. Now it is sort of this managerial state. And so you have to adopt the same attitudes as this managerial state. You have to have the same education. You have to have the same priorities to fit into this managerial state. And the reason that you want to have those is so that managerial state can continue to function. So it needs to have these attitudes. It needs to have these
That's very interesting.
educational
That is an interesting
standards.
point of view.
Isn't it
Yeah,
interesting?
It is.
And so it kind of just
Managerial
becomes this
class.
self-governing facet. So, for instance, when it comes to the misinformation bill, obviously everyone outside of Canberra thinks it's terrible. You go into Canberra and you talk about the misinformation bill, everyone thinks it's the greatest idea of all
is that
time.
one?
Dude, it's kind of-
basically managing speech on the internet. It's nowhere near as aggressive and like this is the end of free speech as they're
Right.
pretending it is. Again, they didn't pretend like it was under the Liberals when they were doing something way more cycle, which was the anti-cyberbullying laws, which is essentially just turning you saying something mean into an act of terrorism. This is